Fuck, man, what a week. What a freaking week. What's up, Bagel? What's up, my dude? Why do I always have the longest freaking ads to watch my sheet? Longest sheet. Come on, beach. Yeah, alright. Oh, I forgot I can't use my sheet over here. Alright. Microphone check. Hello. Microphone check. Hello. Lit. Alright. Game sound. Lit. Alright. Game sound. Oh, yeah. We're freaking chilling. Oh, yeah. Alright. Alright. So, last stream we did, what did we do? Okay, so we unlocked a new prosthetic sheet, which is the Raven, which I'm still not good at, but I think it just takes time. What else? I think we killed one boss, right? Yeah, because I recorded something. We killed one boss yesterday, or Monday. And then now we have to kill that stupid fucking demon bullshit. You killed the dragon? Kill the dragon? Yeah, okay, we killed the dragon. Alright, so let's have a talk real quick, alright? Demon of boredom. Alright, let's have a talk real quick. Is there anything worth upgrading on this Raven? Like, should I try and get this sheet upgrade right away? I suck at using it, but this upgrade right here that I was seeing, looking at, freaking helps me better. If you think you'll use it. Well, dude, I have so much resources. I feel like I should upgrade this. I only use half this sheet, dude. I don't even know what to use. That's the problem. What is this? Dye red to reassemble the Great Mist Raven. Wait, what? What is this behind you? Burn enemies along your path? Oh, that's freaking pretty cool. I do want to give it a shot. Damn, I have enough for this too. Shit. That's 1500 though. Maybe I should try with without upgrading it, just to see if I can get used to that sheet. So what's the base one I got again? Where's that sheet? Oh, I forgot. Base and show you the base sheet. Alright, how the frick you use this bullshit again? When attacked in this stance. Okay, so I just gotta remember to frickin' press tab and hold WASD. It's easy money. I'm gonna try it. Because it sounds useful as sheet. And I don't even use this other sheet. And you know me, I need all the freaking advantages I can get, so. Oh, wait. Actually. Dude, ooh. Well, first things first. What the frick did this get here? Oh, shoot. What the frick did this beach get here? Used to upgrade the loaded shuriken. Garbage. I should buy that. I should buy that. I should buy that. I can buy that. Should I buy that? Should buy that. What do I have right now? Of course, I can't see this fucking menu. If I have 3, I'm buying it right now. If I have 2, then I'll just wait. Oh. How about 1? Alright, let me see if this beach will have some training for this Raven. I will.
What is?
When's the last time I talked to you? Wait, I haven't talked to you since I had the Mortal Blade? Fucking sure.
The Mortal Blade. What? It's real? You don't suppose? You could use it to end this curse of mine.
Oh, shit. Well, I didn't know. Look, I just came here to freaking train. You want to talk to him since... No, I've talked to him. It's because I'm too good. I don't need training, alright? Oh, shit. What the fuck? Wait. If I kill him, I can't train anymore. Even though I don't want to do it anyways. Do I get, like, a replacement? What the fuck do I do, Bagel? What'd you do? Did you kill a speech? I don't want to kill a speech. You just had. I mean, like. Yeah, I feel bad. You have a curse, like, you can't die. But, like. I need a training on me, dude. But then again, I don't even use you, so maybe I should. You know, I don't know. See, I feel like it'd be selfish of me not to kill him, you know? This is a weird predicament. I don't like this. Why does these games always have sushi? Bro, I can't sushi. I kind of want to kill him, just because, like, I feel like it's selfish if I don't. Because I'm just using this beach to train. I'm just kind of fucked up. I don't know if I get a replacement. You know what, dude? I don't even use them anyways. At least tell me this, Pickle. Is there like is this game changing right here? Does this even matter at all with anything I'm doing? You just gotta tell me that. Were you thinking too much? No, I'm just wondering though. Like, no, I'm just wondering. Like, for real though. No.
I will.
Fuck it, dude.
Of course.
Let's end this misery.
Thank you. A man with your skill could grant a merciful death, couldn't you? Leave it to me. Splendid. I must give my thanks to Sekiro. I will prepare for the beyond. The next time.
Oh, it's not right now. Oh.
Be ready.
Okay. Do you think I can still train?
I will prepare for the
Okay. Nah, that's cool. At least it's not at this moment. Damn, I haven't touched that beach since I got that. That's fucking crazy. Wow. Don't tell me. 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 Yeah. Got it. Wait, is this it? I just saw the word flames, so I assumed. Yeah. Shit. Alright. Tab right before you get hit. Let's do a couple fights to try and do that, just so I can get used to it. Because I have a feeling this could be like a freaking game changer right here. Oh, I forgot. This takes spirits. Oh, shit. Why can't they just be infinite, huh? Why you gotta have caution? My boy! Thanks for the 5 gifted, my dude. You're a freaking legend, my guy. What's up? Holy shit. My boy. Thanks for the freaking gifted, my guy. Merry Christmas. Hell yeah, homie, freaking legend. I'm holy shit. What a way to start a fight. Hey, Bigley, you got in there. Hell yeah. Thanks for the freaking resub, my guy. I appreciate it, my dude. Resub. I'm just autopilot mode. Thanks for the freaking gift, my guy. Freaking legend, dude. That's like what? Freaking $25. You're freaking crazy. Thank you, sir. You're a freaking legend. My energy level is kind of low because it's the end of the week. I do apologize, but you're a freaking legend, bro. Thank you, man. Hell yeah. Oh, my guy. My guy, thank you, dude. You're freaking legend, bro. Thank you. Hope you had a fantastic week, my dude. Merry freaking Christmas, even though I still got like what 2 days left. Yo, bagels from the future, bro. It's like a day ahead of me. When's Christmas again? Oh yeah, Sunday. Merry Christmas, homie. Thank you for the freaking resub and the 5 gifted. You're a freaking legend, my dude. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. So I think that's what the second or third time Bagel has gotten gifted. Hell yeah, freaking legend, bro. We celebrate Christmas today. Oh really? Oh shit. Cool. Merry Christmas, my guy. I still got 2 days, but heck yeah, man. I got 10 days off of work, dude. So I am just, I'm happy. But I don't know if they're gonna have me work next Saturday, because whenever we get Monday off, they always have us freaking work Saturday, which is dumb. But yeah. But seriously, man, thank you so much for the freaking gift, my dude. You're a freaking legend. Absolute freaking, what's the word? Chad, dude. You're a freaking absolute Chad, and that's a compliment. I don't know if it's insulting or not. Freaking, here we go. This is for you, right here. Here we go. This is for you, right here. Here we go. Here we go. I don't need to freaking warm up. Ah! All you right here. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot, buddy. Alright. I got this somewhere. Oh, I forgot how much I hate this guy. I hope all is well, my dude. I hope you have a safe Christmas. And spend some quality time with the family and stuff. What the fuck? What the? What? Ah! Oh my! Yo, you're. Huh? I have to regen my sheet in a hot minute. I was checking your the chat log to see when the last time you joined. That was like 2 months ago, and you mentioned something about a boss fight. I'm trying to remember what boss fight you joined. Oh, okay, well, haha. I deserve that. I'm already out of potions. All right. I didn't even use my thing I had. Oh boy. I forgot how hard this, or how much annoying this guy is. I spent my Christmas alone. I don't really have family to spend time with. Gonna go hang out with a couple friends tomorrow and their families, so it's cool. Oh hell yeah, homie. Well, I'm glad you're hanging out with someone, you know. That's good to hear. Hey, sometimes celebrating alone is the best, you know. Sometimes it's nice to just kind of be left alone, to kind of do your own stuff, you know. At least every now and then. Low key, that's kind of how I am. Like, I like everybody likes having some fun time. What? Ah, I didn't dodge that. show. Dude, honestly, I'm a freaking same way, bro. People, I don't like people. In like a nice way, I guess. Oh yeah. Every time he does that, I always hear a heart home. Yes. Oh, look. That's actually pretty freaking cool, not gonna lie. Raven is kind of god tier. Again? How did I kick your ass last time? How the... Ah! How did I dodge that first one? Yeah, man, like, I know I may... I don't know if it looks like I'm not an introvert, but I'm a freaking massive introvert, man. I don't freaking go anywhere. Go to work, come home, sleep, go to work, come home, sleep. Like, I don't do much. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know why I'm like that. Sometimes I wish I wasn't like that. But then again, that's just what I'm freaking comfortable with, so. I didn't even see her thing. Was she supposed to do a thing? Okay. Dude, that's freaking old. I'm definitely upgrading this thing. Did you watch any like what? Like Christmas movies or anything like that? Dude, that's so OP. This freaking Raven is totally different from the guy that dude. Oh, I forgot. Dude. Oh my, this thing is so OP. Let's get into, I don't know, dude. This guy's. What? Ah! I hate this guy. Bro, I hate this guy. Oh shit, he's finally fighting this dude? Fuck this dude, bro. Umbrella is your bestie? But the Raven. We can talk about the Raven. This thing's god tier, dude. I don't know if it's... maybe I should use the Umbrella for this guy versus the Raven, but... I guess the Umbrella is only one. This fucking Raven's OP. Using tools for easy mode. You're the one who told me to get it. Oh, you're the one who guided me to get it. I don't want to hear shit. But yeah, I'm going to catch some sleep. It's 3 a.m. Holy shit. And I gotta get up at 10 a.m. Hope you have a nice stream, Mr. Stream, my guy. Dude, you're a freaking legend, my guy. Thank you so much for the freaking for the resub and the gifted. Thank you for hanging out and talking and chatting. Hope you have a fantastic sleep, and I hope you enjoyed your Christmas. Haley, man. Go to sleep, my dude. God, time zones are freaking crazy, dude. You're like 10 hours ahead of me. So is Bagel. Dude, you guys just freaking time zones like freaking crazy, man. There's still another tool you don't have yet. Oh yeah, is that one even worth getting? Pick that and give myself an interest. Do that. Alright, what occasion do I use the umbrella? I'm trying to think. Does this work for the when he does the little ground slam sheet? This would definitely be good when he shoots out the little sheets. I need money though, dude. I need to stock up on a ton of sheets. How much are these things again? Like what, 50 each? God damn. I mean, I can get that kind of easy, but I need to stock up on like 1,000 of them. When he jumps in the air. Oh, does it work when he jumps in the air? Ooh. Fucking watch out a little bit. You can block just about anything, I think. Ah! You should start off like that. The one time I don't expect you to do a double, of course, you go 1-2 slap. I should have used right there, but I guess I was. Okay, if I. This umbrella is OP. Do one roll. Yeah! Pretty sure you can't parry that. Alright, we're going for round 2. That blocks that too. Dude, this freaking umbrella is OP. Why the frick haven't I been using this? I should probably heal. That's something I cannot do. Okay. Oh, what attack is that? Okay. God, I hate this guy. Yeah, that's come on, come on. No, wait. Ah, that's the wrong button. Ah! Okay. Oh, what? I don't know how to do that. Okay, just chill for a second. Just chill. Ah! Yeah, let's just miss everything. Yep. Good use of that, Nick. Nice. So many potions. This is freaking incredible. Wow, way to take advantage of the. That's something. Yep. What, that actually hit me? Again? God damn, homie. Stagger's ass. Yeah! Freaking beach. Freaking damage. Yeah! No, wait. Yeah! Get your ass out of here. Oh, look, 2 more to go. Ha ha. Alright, here we go. Oh, wait, I forgot. I should use some shit. Yeah. Sure, let's do that? Fire, my guy. I'm out of potions. I am a dead man walking. That beat's gonna suck my mouth. Oh God. Ah! Why do I always miss 2 hits? Wait, he didn't do his other combo. Oh, I should definitely, I should probably heal. Okay. Actually doing pretty well. Again? This is probably gonna hurt. Alright, well, fuck, we're gonna get anywhere close to this third English. Son of a bitch, third phase. It still hurts me. Maybe that's not working. Oh, nice freaking stagger. No, we're gonna get to the third phase right now? No. Okay, so the umbrella's good, but it still does damage to me, which makes me think that it might not be worth. Because I think with the Raven, you don't take any damage at all. So I think we might still use the Raven. Maybe, I don't know if I can... I wonder if I can dodge the whole thing with one little sheets. You know what we got? Let's test it out. Damn, we almost got to the third phase. There's still no way in shit I was doing that, but... So I still get hit by that. But I don't take any damage. Oh, he asked for it. Oh! Ah! Yeah! Ah! If I can time that a little later, I feel like I can probably dodge the frickin'. That's double. That's the double. I forgot. Phase 3 is where the fight starts. Is it different sheet for that third one? How the frick am I gonna survive 3 phases, dude? Can this be like the monk where I skip sheet? Also, how's it going, Slasher? How's life? Ready for Christmas? A little bit later, bro. Like, I'm talking like milliseconds later. I can definitely dodge that shit. There's no way I did not have the time for this shit. Get your dumb ass up. Look what you did. Look what you did. Are you happy about yourself? Got a constant be on this shit. Oh god damn, that was my good damage right there. I did not do a very good job dodging that. It's because I have no spirit. Now I'm getting clapped. Now I'm getting comboed. Yeah, Can you heal? I have to do some farming for some more. I feel like I need to run away because I don't have any sheets. How much? That it has a very big range. Alright. And you're gonna do it again. Oh, waha? That's new. Alright. Something else to deal with. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Hey, what's up? It's Scratch? Is that how you said it? What's up, man? How's it going? Welcome to the stream where I die every 5 seconds. I'll be having this one a day. Ready? Just know these things. Short for Rachel. Ooh, what's up? How's it going? Just fair warning. Alright, I fucking suck. If you're looking for quality gameplay, you have joined the wrong stream, my friend. We don't play competitively. I fucking suck every game we play, so we're here for a fun time, not a something like that. Pretty good, thank you. How are you? That's fun. I'm honestly doing pretty fucking good. We had this little thing at my work to kind of celebrate Christmas, and I got freaking 10 days off, so I am freaking happy as shit. But chill. He's lying. This is the deathless playthrough. Don't look at the bottom left. Honestly, listen, how many hours? 35 hours, dude. 329 deaths. I think that's pretty freaking solid, dude. I think that's solid. 10 is up. That means 20 hours stream now, right? I don't know if I ever did 24. I could barely handle a 12 when I was doing a charity stream. 329 actually means 0 in my eyes. See, well, she got it. So, what would you rather me call you? Like, I like giving nicknames because I suck when it comes to reading Twitch names. The guy in chat right now, I call him Bagel because when I first saw his name, I did not know how to pronounce it. I butchered the frick out of it. I just ended up calling him Bagel. So I've been calling him Bagel for the past couple years. So if you have any nickname you want me to call you, you go ahead and tell me because I fucking suck when it comes to names. But your name's pretty easy, so it should be good. Unlike that guy, yeah. That's a lot of deaths. Dude, it's not that bad, alright? I killed Lady Butterfly within like, what, 30? 40? You can calm down. Let's calm here. Let's calm down now, alright? I have endless nicknames. A lot of people call me Ray. Ooh, okay. This is up to you. Get creative. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. I think of some sheep. Alright. Turns out I was lying this whole time. I'm actually freaking god insane. There we go. I'm not gonna get hit once here. Exaggerate a little bit. I freaking hate him. I have a strong hate passion for this guy, dude. I can't fucking stand this one. I can't stand this speech. I gotta show off. This is my time to show off. Why are we fighting over here? How did I dodge that first one? Okay, let's get the frick away from it. Get the frick away from the edge, my guy. I don't get over here, Beach. I ain't fighting your ass over there. I freaking hate this guy so fucking much. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, at least I got the heal off. We fall off and die, Beach. Okay, that's kind of weird, I'm sorry. I thought that was a good attack. You know what? Just go ahead and kill me. We ain't killing this guy with 2 potions. Hurry up. We're not killing this guy with 2 potions. This is pointless. He's gonna butcher your name as well. Watch out. Nah, it's literally impossible. Bro, Bagel, you have to realize how confusing your name sounds, okay? Because this, I don't know if it's like Bueffle, Buffle, if it's the E silent, is the U silent. Like, come on. I think I got her name right. So wait. Is it actually pronounced it's Ratch or it's Ratch? I guess I did butcher it. Shit. Shit. Neither? Wow. Alright. So how do you wait, so how do you pronounce it? I forgot I had to run. Says Rachel without the EL. Oh, okay, so it's not like that. See, actually, I dodge that? You know what, dude? I don't understand this game sometimes. Yeah! Ah. Wow, I don't know how to do that. Then we have moments like this where we just absolutely pop off, and I don't understand. Again? I guess this is there's a thing called getting the fuck up. You're gonna do it, or what's going on here? Again. I couldn't do anything there. I hate this guy so fucking much. Wrong attack. I don't know how I dodged that. How are we on the first phase still? Yeah! And you know what? No, I'm not even mad. I deserve that, dude. I fucking deserve that. I'm not even mad. I deserve that. I deserve that. Streamer hates something over attacks. Bro, there's no shot I can jump over that. You see how big this man is? There's no freaking shot. You can't. Really? Dude, I'm trying that shit. Why wouldn't you? Do you not see how big this guy is? I'm not even editing. You got a fair. You got your fair. That's fair. That's fair. To be fair, never mind. That doesn't count. First off, I didn't try and do it. Second off, why am I? Get out of the freaking corner. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. I dodged that? Yeah. So are you a big Sekiro fan? I was mid-conversation on his account. Also, I have a thing with calling people sir and ma'am a lot. So if I call you or like Miss Ray or Miss Rachel, I apologize if that irritates you, but for some reason I just do that. Like I'll call Bagel Mr. Bagel sometimes. No, wait, do I call you? Some people. It depends on the person, of course, but why did I say Mr. Bagel? That sounds weird. I think I do it to Druid, Mr. Druid. No. Do I? Maybe I don't do it to guys. Maybe it's just. I haven't played it in like a year though. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't know this game won Game of the Year. I wasn't aware of that. Like, I mean, this is a fucking good ass game. A little backstory. I just got done playing Elden Ring before I played this, so if you see me rolling a lot, it's honestly because I'm just Elden Ring. And I apologize if that irritates you, but I fucking can't help it. What was the name you gave me before? Bagel? It's not the right attack I was thinking you were doing. I thought you were going to do the 1-2 slap. And you were doing this again? See, that's where the Elden Ring comes in. This guy, man. This guy. You always call me the same, you never created a con. Really? I swear I've called you. What attack is that? Why do I choose the worst time? Oh, why do I choose the worst time to go? I didn't press F. Whoa! Fucking much of it. Oh, that's not an attack. That's not an attack. Okay. Good enough. Yeah! I like that sheep. I can imagine Sean get a freaking carrot killing you. Especially with potions left. Ha! Yeah! Give me that freaking. Oh. I love that Elden Ring introduced people to these games. They're good. Dude, honestly, for real though, I played Dark Souls 3, and then I think I played 2. I think I forget. And then I was forced to play Elden Ring. That game was freaking hard. Somehow I completed it. Not the right attack. Yeah. Shot on dodge this whole time. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have the reaction time. I'm too much of a boomer for that. I don't have the reaction time for that, dude. I'm like, either I'm mid animation swinging some shit, or I'm doing some other shit. I freaking hate this guy. I played Sekiro without pairing in the stream. He hasn't played Dark Souls yet. He was for other reasons. It wasn't before, but Elden Ring was just the latest one. Oh, okay, I was about to say. Pretty much trick him and try this and started Dark Souls 3 at some point last year. I think he hasn't played Dark Souls 1, but that game is yeah, I'm not freaking playing 1. Dark Souls 3 was my first 2. Oh heck yeah. How many hours did you put into it, do you know? We had a few funny moments in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, we did. We had some good clips. Dark Souls 1 feels clunky in its own ways. Yeah, I saw Bagel playing a little bit of it, and I was like, I don't know about it. It's really hard to appreciate Dark Souls 1 if you used to. Yeah, I feel like if I went backwards, it might not be enjoyable. It's fun to play for you, but I'll tell you right now, it'll feel very clunky. I don't know. Maybe eventually, but I don't know. 2 minutes something is worth in Dark Souls 2 for me. You didn't like 2? I have many hours Dark Souls 3's. No, I've played it many times. At least 200. Damn. Okay. See, now the thing with me is that I don't think I've ever played a game where I've done like New Game Plus or anything like that, and I believe this game will be the first time I do that, just to get both endings. So, I'm excited for that. Dark Souls 2 is definitely one of the worst games I have played. We get both we do us in both ways, so that's Nicholas. Yeah. I'm excited though. I'm excited to finally do a freaking Game Plus. I'm probably gonna die in 5 seconds, but oh, I don't know if I registered. Dude, it's always when I'm animating my English, my swing. Yeah, that. It's always a swing. You never try it. Yeah. It's every time. I can't do shit. deserve this though. Woo. Oh god. Oh. Second. Oh. You can dodge it. Ah. Oh Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. All right. That was good. I don't know if you guys are aware, but you can dodge that by jumping. In case you guys. Oh, you're freaking not even my guy. You're freaking toast. Get the. Oh, I forgot I got affect you. Alright, here we go. Are we gonna get to 3 right now? I got 6 potions. This is kind of looking good. Here we go. Okay, so don't forget, he does some other bullshit. I was not aware that was the attack you were going for. No. What's the technique here, bro? Just run. I found the technique. Okay, I'm a god. Here we go. Oh god, someone give me 1 second. That Okay. I like it. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Yeah! I jumped. I freaking jumped. Freaking heal, you dumb beach. Oh shit. How do you? What? I go in between his legs? What? Oh, I can use my thing on that? I'm not gonna lie, we might be getting to the 3rd one right now. Which one's that one? Okay. No, not attack! Go for it. Oh my. Can you? Can you? Okay, let's just all, please. Dude, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, man. It's just, what? What I miss? Don't think we play 3 times just to see all the cutscenes. We do sure after this one. I think. I was thinking we just care about the bosses. Kind of bosses the best part. Heck yeah. Purification is the best. Final boss is fun. Damn, he jumped first time in 30 hours. Purification is perfect. Wait, that was the wrong one. I didn't even hear that sheet. How much is that one? Damn, I need 500.
Shit. Here we go again.
Redeem another honor. Oh. Yeah, I guess the sound alerts are kind of expensive for new viewers, but I think I forget why I put that 500. I feel like Bagel's the only person that uses them, so I was kind of basing off his points. Not gonna lie. What did your Twitch recap look like? Honestly, I haven't even watched it yet. I probably should. I was going to before I started my stream today, but I have no idea what I was doing. I just okay, no. So, right, there's a little thing in my stream, right, where I do hella good one time, right? And it never happens for like 2 hours. So just so you know, that's probably the best attempt we're gonna get this whole freaking stream. Yeah. So, ask literally anybody. That happens all the time, dude. I fight a boss for the first time, dude. Absolutely slap the man, dude. Like he ain't got no shits. And then I never happens again. Ah! I need to get some freaking split. Sad. The best strat is to just be on his sheet all the time, bro. That's the freaking way to go. Ah. I swear, joking in real life makes it better. More immersion. Yeah, I don't know why I dodged that attack. I'm just fucking flying like a home person again. Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Staggered. He's staggered. He's staggered. He's staggered. He's not staggered. That was way too late. I don't know how the frick I did that. He's staggered. Yeah, get the frick out of my game. Never mind. I blame that on my age. I blame that on my age. How does that even work? Well, I'm already down to 3 potions? What the fuck? Oh, this guy's stupid, man. Oh boy, you still got 2 more I believe. You still gotta fight Al? Oh shit, you're right. The boss is taking longer so far. That's a good ass question. I kinda forgot. Dude, how do I dodge that? I want to say maybe version 1 of Al, maybe? Yeah, it might have been Gintro, so. Yeah, I think it was. Because that was like the first like hard boss. Then again, Lady Butterfly was pretty freaking hard. Like, she kicked my ass. If I can kill this guy, I might get a revive. So we gotta like pop off here. Maybe we don't kill him this time and get a revive. Because who wants that right now? Me. Good question. I honestly don't know who's been up for next turn. Yeah, dude. I haven't had. I don't think I've had a boss where I've been stuck at it for a longest time on this game. Elden Ring is totally strong. Elden Ring 100% Millennia took my sheet like 4 streams. Was Lady Butterfly the first boss I did? Yeah, that's why I didn't know how to play the game. That's why I didn't understand the pairing like that good. And then I kind of realized how overpowered it is in this game. Kind of how you have to do. I think this guy might take a bit, or L2. L2 is gonna take a hot minute. So is this speech, bro. I fucking hate this little chucker. Elden was fun. Oh, Lenny. Oh, you fought her? Oh, dude. Fuck that motherfucker, bro. I got a clip to show you. That's gonna be hella funny. Frick, I just wasted a lot of time for damage. All we gotta do is just pop off like 2 times, dude. All we gotta do. Pop off 2 times, or pop off, slap his sheet, and then just win the game. That's all we gotta do. If I can just keep doing this, dude, I'm being an absolute god. Look, if I can just do this over and over again, we're freaking Gucci. We're killing this guy. Now that was not my fault. That's the wrong attack. I thought he was doing the phew shit. That one. I didn't parry that? Every time I think you're doing the phew shit. Why don't you do that, huh? That was the other one. Yeah! How did I go from 9 potions, like, what, a minute ago? Yeah, that's the attack I want. Yeah! Oh. Yeah! Man, it took me quite a bit to do without sense. Oh yeah, we did, huh? I did. My neck kicked my ass too. Did you do something? That's a true flex. Honestly, that's like the. That's the true flex in that game is summons if you don't use them. I can do this from all the way over there? Just give it out to the stagger. Just constantly be honest and crap if you're honest. I don't know why I jumped there. No, that was second. Yeah. Bad timing somehow, but I feel like I'm a little too close to you, especially because you're getting hit by the. I deserve that. I deserve that. No, that's cool. I don't like these very much. I'm not a fan. What is happening? What are you doing? Oh, I don't like this. Ah! Oh my! Yeah. You're done. You're out of here. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh yeah, good attack. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh. You know, I've always wanted to new attacks. That's great. I always wanted that. Am I dead? Oh my god. Ah. I've never been. Oh. Uh. I jumped. I freaking jumped. Dude, okay, so like, so you can tell me I gotta deal with you shooting these spirit sheets at me, then you So, I take it back how the last attempt was the best attempt. I take that this is the best attempt we're gonna get the whole stream. So I need to make my chat like bigger so I can see more. Keep missing stuff. To be honest, she should have a third phase where she is stagger immune. I'd probably still fighting her. Oh, Ray, what class did you use? You remember? Killing for Elden Ring DLCs, because usually the DLCs were the best in Souls games, but it's gonna be real hard to beat Elden Ring boss game, base game. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Torchy wants me to say hi to you. What's up, Torchy? Bruh, my dude had -1 health. Dude, for real though, can we talk about that? Use the whistle. I know. He knows the weakness now. It's the whistle. I'm probably not gonna use it. No, if you don't need no freaking whistle. Hey, what's up, Sludge? What's up, man? How's it going? I mean, it's upgraded. It stuns the motherfucker for a cool minute. It's upgraded. Come on, Pickle. You gotta put me on blast like that. Yeah, I don't upgrade anything. I have a problem. I got all the sheet to upgrade, but I just don't, cause I'm a savage. That's two things that don't really fit together. Is still missing a tool. Okay, here's what needs to happen. I need to farm some spirits so I can actually use my tools. That's the first thing, right? Second thing, I need to not suck. Now, these are things that one is very achievable, but one is not. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. Exploring is a strong part. Bro, I feel like I explored pretty good in this game. What do you freaking mean? They got 20 for 5 spirits at Costco. Wait, for real? Oh, shit. Alright, bet. I'll go there real quick. Well, you did in the first stream, probably. Probably. I can't assume that did and then you doubted yourself. What the frick? Hey, what's up, Panda? What's up, man? Oh yeah, Ray, I'm not sure if you heard me. What class did you play in Elden Ring? I'm curious. I played. See, now people say that melee is easy mode, but then someone, who was it? Chase told me that melee is not easy mode. So it's like, I don't know what to believe anymore. How's it going, Panda? How's your week going, my dude? Okay, so can we just do that again? Let's just be real. I need that to happen like all the time. How much does this use again, too? We should probably upgrade. I'm going to look while I catch up on some finance stuff that I haven't since the beginning of the year. Oh, yeah, I might want to do that. Well, thanks for looking, Mrs. Sledge. Have fun in your financial stuff. English. Oh, yeah, we're getting stuck in the garbage disposal. No. Next question. If you play OP build, do you kill any boss in a few seconds? Yeah, right. But good brother, how's your day? Honestly, dude, it's going pretty good. I'm feeling good. We had this little thing at work today, which was hella fun for like Christmas. I have 10 days off of work, so I'm freaking happy. Shit. Also, Christmas, New Year's, all that fun stuff. I don't remember what I did initially, but I ended up running the Moonlight Sword. Ooh, okay. It seems like the Moonlight Sword is pretty common. Wait, Moonlight. Wait, which one's that one? Is that the what's the katana? The Moon Veil? Different? Oh, you literally said sword. See, like, this is what you get for not reading fully. And then that Moonlight Katana. See, this is what I get for not reading the freaking full freaking thing. Come on, Nick. What the frick? Intel type decks. Okay, okay. I started off with Bleed, but switched it up. Oh, okay. I won an Xbox at my company Christmas party. What the frick? Which one? I don't know if it got patched, but I think there was even a cheese for this boss that makes him insta-die. Well, let me guess, like jumping him off the map. Making him jump off the map. Sorry, I didn't read the... I have like... Okay, so I got some sheet, right? First thing, I'm pretty sure I have OCD. Another thing is I have ADHD, so I'm very quick with reading and responding instantly, and I don't read the full freaking message, so my bad. Series S? I sold it. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Fuck that Series S. Something like that. Yeah, I played the Katana Dex build all in Dark Souls 3. So I immediately just was like, hey, let's just do same thing in Elden Ring. Pretty cool. And then I end up dual wielding at the very end, so it was fun. Go get some Spirit Stock. That person likes some Spirit. Is that doing a Spirit? Watch this. I'm about to fucking pop off right now. I'm about to fucking pop off. I'm about to fucking pop off. About to pop off. See, I knew that was coming too, but I still suck. Haha. Yeah. I like it. I like it. That was not fair. I got... that was not my fault. This speech had my sheet spit. I pressed stuff like 7 times. I literally pressed left click 7 times. Ah, shit. If you tap off a screen and just listen to Nick, it sounds like he's getting sick. I tend to make some pretty sus sounds, I'm sorry. Woo! That was kind of cool because somehow, watch this, he's gonna shoot his little thing. God. I expect you to freaking do the one attack, you freaking don't because you're a little punk. Yeah, you like that sheet? Why did I attack him? That was not very smart. You're staggered. You're staggered. You're not staggered. Oh. Huh? How the? Huh? Jesus Christ. I knew that was coming too. I forget it's obviously that. It's coming! Ah! Ah! Okay, we're not gonna talk. How the frick did I survive that, bro? I was on fire and I had like no sheets. What the flap smack my bro? I need an explanation how the frick I survived that. Dude, if I bait out him swinging 3 times with this freaking stupid head, probably get some pretty, frick. Oh, easy. Give me this freaking execution right now. I have 2 potions left? Huh? Where'd you go? Attack. Haha. Now I'm freaking dead. Now I am a dead man walking. I used the wrong potion. It's not going as planned. Alright. We're going well, but it sucked. I don't know how I didn't time that right. Gonna get up maybe, or it's fine. Everything's fine. It's nothing. Oh yeah, Ray, if you're still watching, how did you find out about my stream? I'm always curious, whenever a new player joins, how they, Gosh! I don't know how I didn't time it that long. That was kinda good. It was recommended actually. Came up randomly on my homepage.
Oh. Oh, really?
Oh. Cool. What games do you usually watch? I wish I could cancel my attack sometimes. That'd be great. Is there like a thing for that? Yeah. All inner forms of enemies. Hell yeah. Cool. Give me that second. Yeah, that was fire. Absolute freaking fire right there. No pun intended. actually use it only to watch my friends now. So whatever game they're playing, like I do watching these kind of games. Oh, sweet. Have friends. What is happening with my friends right now? I'm kind of like that too. Like I've been streaming on Twitch for a hot minute, but I suck when it comes to like watching people. I don't know why. Like I know the whole thing is just trying to like branch out, and you know, like talk to people, socialize and stuff, but it's not my strong thing. I've always never been like that. Oh, I totally forgot. Thank you for the follow, Ray. I totally forgot you freaking nose and alert for that. My bad. So much going on with this freaking guy. It's kind of hard to think. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Nickname watches me, doesn't he? But Slasher, I watched you. I hop in. But then again, usually you stream when I end. And at that time, I don't, I kind of take a break from my computer for a hot minute. I do lurk on your streams, but though. Dude, what is happening to my friend? Only joking. We should play some games together sometime, though. For real, though. I haven't played with you and your homies for a hot minute, dude. Well, actually, I played with Michelle quite a while ago. Actually, it wasn't that long. But ever since my freaking Instagram got hacked, we don't talk that much anymore. I don't even use Instagram anyways. This is why I got hacked. Like we all just kind of like migrated into doing our thing. Bro, what is going on with my frames, dude? I understand there's a lot of effects going on. Starting to realize the HP points of when he staggers himself, or when I stagger him. Obviously, it's different. I think it's based on how fast you attack. It's just hard. Oh. I didn't dodge her? Oh. Why not? I don't know if you guys can really feel the frames. I'm sure you guys can, but I'm freaking feeling Mr. Krabs. It's not fun. I have 8 potions up. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't jinxing crap, but I have 8 potions up. God. Oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Yeah, I got it.
I don't remember you doing that. Kind of bad time. Star card. Again? I didn't dodge that? I'm dead. That was fucking sick. Holy frick, I'm popping off right now. I'm not enjoying this freaking frame loss, so I can't complain about it, but I'm not enjoying it. I didn't dodge that? Oh my god, dude. I didn't. Okay, you know what? Never mind. I was uphill. I respect that. Man, I wish I would have got that later. I do not have much of a stamina bar. Stagger bar, stamina. I'm really. I knew that was awful. That was probably like going into a god tier run right there. I knew that was happening too. Flapjacks, dude. Damn, why did your Instagram get hacked? I was very inactive on it, and I guess I was a target. And I was too lazy to recover it because I really didn't use it anyways. Like, I didn't post crap on it. I only used it to talk to homies. That's pretty much it. And the homie I was talking to, I had her on other stuff too, so it wasn't like I never talked to her again. But we have talked less though, which kind of sucks. But dude, that was such a fucking good run. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get that lucky ever again. To be fair, I did lose a heal on the first fight, or that might have been the breaker. Apart from me just sucking at the game. How the frick did that hit me? Why this? There's just no jump on that. Why the frick? There's no freaking need to jump. Stagger's coming in hot. Stagger's coming in hot. Why I'm parrying this? Okay, kind of a bad. I mean, I guess that was kind of a good time because I'm pretty sure I was getting hit right there. But I should not dodge that. I should just freaking run for my life. You're freaking toast. I've used 4 potions? When? You know what? Never mind. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's not the right attack. Here's where everything hits. Here's where he just chucks all his shit at my face. Here we go. Goodness freaking gracious, man. I was doing so good, kind of. God, how did I dodge that?
Bedtime for me, 2:30 a.m. Bro, your guys' time zones are freaking crazy. I hope you enjoy the rest of your zeroed out the front. Hey, thanks. But thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for the follow. I totally forgot to introduce myself. My name is Nick. I stream Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. PST, which is... I cannot think on the top of my head how many hours it is behind you. But time zones are freaking crazy. But thank you so much for joining, Ray. Hope to see you Monday. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. That was absolute god tier gameplay right there. It's freaking hell good. Like that. God! Oh, the very good idea to go in that. I'm gonna pop a freaking thing off because I'm risky punk. Alright. Stagger coming in hot. Stagger coming in hot. I really have no idea what's happening. I'm gonna just take a little reset here. Probably shouldn't actually. I'm kind of popping off right now. It's freaking bad. How did it go from like having... No, don't question anything. Oh, fuck, this is where it pops off, though. I gotta revive, though. Okay, I don't know the best strategy on how to do that. Oh, my God. Okay. Can you go away? Thank you. Okay. Oh my. Oh my. What is that? Oh, she. Oh, God. Holy FPS. Wowzers. Oh my. Feeling the stagger coming in hot. Feeling the stagger coming in hot. It's freaking good. Oh, that was freaking good. Dude, this FPS is freaking killing me, bro. Holy freaking bonkers Batman. Freaking chicken on a pancake, bro. How the frick did I get hit by that? Oh, I have a revive. Oh, shit. Why did I freaking jump right there? I used a revive and I got one tap right after it. That is not very good, Nick. I don't know about you. That's kind of not how you're supposed to do things. Your name is Nick, I know. Hey, man. Some people, they might not know. I thought your name was Seven.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Good to meet you. I'll be back. And Merry Christmas. Hey. Have a good Christmas, Ray. I had to see the end of that. Nice try. Crap. Hi out. Bring it all in, dude. Here, I'll tell this guy to shut up. Bring all the alerts in. Dude, I cannot believe I died. I don't know why I was on his right side. Even though it's a reaction for me to go on the right side anyways, but there was a freaking wall there. That was not smart. I was hella good though. See, we don't need no spirits. We cut that shit. Easy money, dude. I was so upset I freaking wasted my revive on that though. It's alright. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Alright. We'll just do it again. Alright? Let's go. That was hella good though, dude. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do that again. That was a freaking solid ass run, like all through the whole thing. 100%, bro. You gotta be on his shit, bro. Just freaking slaps him. That one because I can't fuck with it sometimes. I'm always on the freaking hill, so. And then things like that happen. If I die that early, dude, is there any point? Is there any point? There's no way I'm able to do 2 more without dying again. Like, it's just no freaking point. Yeah. Attack. How did I dodge that? Oh, I got him. What's happening? Okay. Oh my goodness. I don't know how the fuck I dodged that. Really freaking late for that. How did that? How the fuck did I have the time to dodge that? I don't know if that was iframes or just whatever it was. I freaking like it. Oh, haha. Why do I jump? Huh? I did attempt to jump there. Just saying. Damn, you're gonna let me do that to you, like right then and there? Yeah, 5 potions, not looking too good. I did not get a freaking move out of that, which kind of sucks. Wait, I could have. How you gonna switch mid? How you just gonna like in a snap of a finger switch to that move? I thought you were gonna start swinging and then you just like cancel your sheet and go phew phew. Alright, so let's sum it up. Hour and 40 minutes, dude. We've killed him. Technically, we've killed him multiple times. We've gotten what, like 3 good runs? I feel like that's pretty good. Considering we're kind of playing hard mode, which we always do, unintentionally and intentionally. I feel like that's pretty good, right? Because this speech is hard. It's just all. This speech is dumb. Just don't get that brains. Alright, this guy's suck. That complete wrong. Haha, I don't know what the frick I thought you were doing, but it was definitely not that. I am freaking dead man talking. Never mind. Turns out you can't run. Maybe you do have to do it. Well, this run is just going to crap. Every time I'm trying to use my sheet, you always do that sheet and it always gets me every time. I deserve that. That was garbage run anyways. Halfway through stream, bro. Come on, you got it. Frickin' trying, dude. Bro, just go get some spirits. This dude is straight up. See, like, at this point, I don't want to because I know it's gonna make it a little bit easier. And I've already gotten to a point where I almost killed him. Like this, you know? Low-key, I also kind of forgot where I even want to farm to get spirits.
Brittany's asking me to tell you that you texted me.
Alright. Maybe 1 second. Yeah, whatever, man. We all know you gotta give me 1 second. One second, my sister checks me. This Dawes texted me. So let's see. Where was that spot where we're farming for the what's it called, dudes? Not there. Here it is. This is where we fought the lightning guys. They give like. Actually, wait, I don't know if these guys give a lot of coins. I don't know a good spot for coins. I know a good spot for XP though. But coins is a different story. Alright, sorry. I had to help my sister out for 1 second. That is not what I wanted to turn on. What day is it? The 23rd? Here. Are you doing anything for Christmas, Sasha? Did I ever ask you? I forgot. We had a bunch of different people come in today. My mind's all kind of blown on who I told what. Sorry. Mexicans celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. Oh, okay. You got anything planned? Oh, I'm sorry. See, I need to read more, dude. Just some family hangouts, hangs tomorrow. Okay, I got you. Other than that, just enjoying the time off work. Hell yeah! How many days you got of work? You got the whole whole rest of the week, or next week? Got off Wednesday. Yeah, I don't go in till Tuesday. Damn. Okay, that's fair. That's cool. That's cool. So, it's kind of I don't know if it's personal. Does your actually I kind of want to compare it to my work. Does your work give you vacation time, but it's actually like not cutting into your personal vacation time? You know what I mean? Is it like company vacation time? Does that make sense? Because my work is a frick weird, dude.
they give you vacation time at the start of the year, right? But then they don't. All this stuff is all incorporated within the year. Like for instance, Thanksgiving cuts into that, Christmas cuts into that. So you don't really have like personal vacation time. It's all based off of freaking holidays, which is freaking stupid. They have they pay for holidays. You have your own PTO. So that's freaking jacked up, dude. We don't have that shit, man. It's all in one. So it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I guess they're paying for it regardless, but everything goes out of your sheet. So you don't really have it. It's like, wow. It's freaking dumb. I gotta do one more thing. One more thing. Let's just do like. Like the forced holidays. Yes, that's what it's called. Forced holidays off, but you had to use your own PTO to get paid. Yeah. That's what, dude. That's what mine does, man. And it's just like, really? So we're gonna do this. Sorry, one last thing. My bad. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna choose this. And we're gonna do this. This. Like you would think like a like a multi-billion-dollar company would like give you fucking some slack, dude, but nah. All right. Did you want? Yeah, we freaking killed them. I don't know where to teleport next. I'm just kidding. Who did you kill him? You can't hear him in the background? I was helping my sister out real quick. We made a decision that we might go try and get some spirits, but I don't know I don't know the best place to farm coins. I can't believe how close we got in this guy though. Anywhere in Fountainhead, lots of enemies. So, shake my head, man. My guy needs to. Look, I don't need. Slash just forced me to, right? He's pretty much saying if you don't do it, he's gonna unfriend me from everything, and I don't want that, right? So it's like I kind of have to listen to him, you know, like Slash is the homie. I really think I can do this without spirit, but then again, whenever you know what, you never farm spirits. That's like using someone's node. I can kill him without it. I feel like it's just gonna take me a lot longer. I really need my freaking FPS to be with me, dude. That's the main issue I'm having. I don't know what the fuck my FPS is doing, man.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Ooh, oh, that was the lead. Ow. Well, from having 9 potions and not getting hit to like almost dying. What the frick? Let's not do that. I really don't want that shit. Again, I feel like I have to because I don't want to get any freaking attacks. Oh, what? What? Dagger incoming. Yeah! Time to freaking run for your life! Whoa! Going for a freaking pellet. Use that shit, you dumb beach! Son of a bitch. Oh, bam! Oh! Didn't know what happened, dude. Forgot my game. Whoa, 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 what the heck is that? Oh. I'm dead. How you gonna... That's fucked up, my guy. No, it's fucked up when you know it. Should definitely cut me there. Stagger incoming. Stagger incoming. Yeah! Come on, just let me do it. Come on, come on, come on! Get that shit! Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay, this is doable if I don't freaking suck. This is doable if I don't. Oh, you beach. This is doable if I don't freaking suck. This is doable if I don't freaking suck. Absolutely fantastic time to revive. Did you see him switch? That's fucked up. How the frick do I react to that? What? I'm too freaking close. I'm way too close. Ooh. Yeah! Oh my god, my FPS is killing me. Go for 2. Whoa! Damn. I know you want to freaking die. Like that shit! Stagger, you little beach. Garbage, you fucking dog water. You fucking don't know how to play the game. Oh, you fucking suck, my guy. Get the frick out of my game. Get the frick out of my game. Yeah, get the frick out of my game. frick out of my game. Ah! Oh, what's up, Jason? I didn't even hear what you did to redeem me then. What the fuck? What's that? My dude said, okay, I'm ending stream now. Holy shit. Damn, what are the chances Chase runs in and I slap this fool? Ha! Dude, that. Whoo! So, wait, how long did that take me? That took me sub 2 hours this stream. And then, like, what, like 30 minutes last stream? That's not, that was, like, that's not too bad, dude. 2.5 hours ish. Posture check. Ah! Thanks, sir. Let's watch this clip. Bring the good luck. Right, you know what? Let's watch this. What you got? Okay. This is doable if I don't fucking suck. Jesus. Okay. This is doable if I don't fucking suck. That was sick. Yeah, my freaking game is. Holy shit. This is doable if I don't. Oh, why is it so low? Oh, it's because I have my. Oh, freaking god. That was a good ass fight, bro. I don't know how the fuck I did that. How many potions do I have left? Like, what, 2? None? We do owl now? No freaking shot. We're doing owl right now? Bitch, I need a break. Alright, bruv. I'm glad I got to watch that. Gotta go stream now. Alright, man. Have a good stream, streamer. Slasher. I'll shoot you up with the host when I'm done. Thanks for freaking joining, my guy. You're a freaking legend. Just here for quick updates. Oh. Well, your update saved me from having to kill this guy. Or having to struggle in this guy more. Outside, bro. Owl this stream. Bro, no freaking shot. We're killing Owl in a sub-hour. Sub-hour, dude. Fuck is this? Used for the highest possible level of, ooh. Never gonna use that. Ooh, I got 2 of them. 15,000? That's only like, what, 1? Yeah. Holy shit. Which is this the new one? Yeah, it is. Thank you. I had 2 potions left. I'm pretty sure I had no revives. Damn, that was good. Yeah. Holy frick, man. I was frick fire. Look at that. You don't need no frickin' spirits. Now I'm a 31.5 hour a week. Oh, dude, I thought you were about to say dollars. I was like, holy shit, bro. What the fuck? That's an odd amount of hours. Oh, wait. Dispatch, bro. What? Changed my sheet. Ben told me they're dumb. Do you have a full mod list for Stardew Valley tonight? Oh, Jesus. How many? 50? I'm really. I didn't know you played Stardew. I'm surprised. I didn't know that was your type of game. Hell yeah, bro. Easy money. At least you get to finish. English. At least you get to continue with your sheet. Stream is stalling. Well, I just look, man. I just suffered for 2.5 hours. You gotta give me a break. All right. We got 28 total. Well, that's not too bad. All right, where we going? Where we going? Where we going? I'm really gotta go out right now, dude. So, okay, wait. So how many bosses left now? Main bosses? 2, right?
Alan. Do you know how long this is? Okay, this is definitely gonna take me longer than the beach I just killed. God, dude, I don't even remember your attacks. Oh, shit. Hopefully my FPS isn't go garbage. Just do this first try. Oh hell yeah! On your frickin' on your sheet. So what days do you 100% have off? I gotta remember all your attacks, bro. Okay, at least with this guy we can kind of parry. Oh, wow. God damn, homie. Wow, your sheet's already reset. Is it even worth trying to go for parry kills in this guy, dude? Sure. I tried jumping. I wanted driving. Well, are you getting a pay increase at all for being 31.5 hours a week? Tuesday, Wednesday off? Not bad. When's that starting? Like, are you working tomorrow? It's 18.50. I mean, all you can do is get that sheet higher. So I mean, sheet. What was the reason they didn't do you on driving? That. God damn, this guy's fucking so goddamn quick, dude. Holy shit. Okay, we need that not to happen. How the fuck did I dodge that? Wait, when did you throw that? Holy crap. What? Okay. Dude, god damn. Okay. Can't stagger that. God damn. Oh my god, dude, I don't know how to freaking approach this. Can't stagger. Oh, that's a different move. What the fuck? Oh, wow. I don't know how to do that. I kind of want to attack enough on that. Oh, okay. I thought that was a good. I thought that was a good jump. I guess it wasn't. Give me 1 second to read that sheet. Okay, I don't think we're going for a parry kill on this guy. Just because I don't know what the frick is happening. I was freaking yelling right there. I need to delay that a little more. God damn, let me get my sheet back. Thank you. Bad if you still kind of dodge that. They didn't. Possibly they didn't want Ben. They didn't want Ben to work dispatch shift with his girlfriend. So put Ben's girlfriend in what was going to be a full-time job. Okay, I got you. They wanted me to drive, but they are actually. Ben just manages the entire thing. Okay, I got you. I got you. Did you ever wonder why his name is Al? Kind of, actually. Now the brothers drive around in matching Lamborghinis. Just some shit like that in the Bay Area. God damn. Most recent purchase. Jesus. I'm sure we find out soon. Let me guess, dude. Second phase is gonna fucking turn into a goddamn owl. So Memphis Company is basically the Steve of Clayton, top dog, but still has owners above him. Huh. Interesting. Okay. What the fuck just happened? Be aggressive, right? Just keep slapping his face, he'll die eventually. Or just get slapped. What the fuck? Oh, hey, how's it going? What in the world is happening? Okay, you're gonna tell me you're gonna run into a wall and then just start sprinting at me? What the fuck do you expect me to survive that? I think though Ben is a good friend of mine since childhood, so I could only get a better position. Yeah, that's the thing. What the fuck? Just stay on top of his head the whole time like a squirrel? Dude, I fucking wish. I forgot I have a level. I should probably use that on just some random sheet because I'm gonna be dying a lot. Okay, can I get something for freaking one? Probably not. Fuck it, let's get Chasing Slice. That I'm never gonna freaking use. Switch threads attack me before immediately test tab. Okay. But now we gotta see a second phase. What the fuck was that? Dude, I need a freaking bigger stagger bar, bro. It's freaking bad. No way that's so good. You slash. It did. Ha ha ha. Bagel, did you parry kill this guy or did you help? Damn it! Yeah, I wasn't gonna say I was a good trader, but I wasn't. Damn, dude, I tried blocking both those. Probably both. This long fight? Okay, so it's meant to be long. I'm just freaking impatient. Shit! Nick has the best Spotify history ever. God damn it. See that, homie?
Wow. So I should be playing slow pretty much, but that. I feel like I was not in range of that. You know what? I forgot. He has a bigger sword than me. Never mind. Haha. I lied. I parried every boss because, besides Demon of Hatred. Damn, really? Huh. Any bar fills up quick, the lower HP. Any bar fills up quicker, the lower the HP of the target. Since when? You didn't tell me about this? I see how to do. You want me to stroke, huh? The game explains to you literally at the start. I mean, a reminder would have been nice. Does it really? I need clips. So freaking long to get your sense back. God damn, homie. Oh God. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm panicking real hard. Jesus. One reminder though, it's obvious you can see it so well. Obviously I didn't. Frickin' 35 hours. I never paid attention to that sheet. What the? Boo. Actually, maybe I have. Hey, I jumped. If I stay on his sheet, it's not so bad. But doing that is kind of hard. Don't. Even if I kick ass, it's still fucking at 3-4, Steve. This freaking bar is just gone. Ah, how am I supposed to dodge that? What the fuck are you doing? Oh, I didn't. Haha, just trying to talk. All you do in your whole playthrough is look at the enemy posture bar. Surely you noticed by now that it races quicker if enemies have lower HP. I mean, no. And I guess I never paid attention to that. Oops. Logical sense, but maybe not very logical. Here comes the sheep. I don't know why I used that. It was not. I don't know why I healed again. Actually, I guess I need to go. Hey, how's it going? I'm trying to, get some sheep back here if you don't mind. Thank you very much. God damn! Ow! For some reason I definitely do want to do that. Jump! God, Jesus Christ. Nah, it's my turn, Beach. Okay. I think I'm pressing plus and minus at the same time, and it's not even doing shit. Oops. We at least gotta get to a second phase of once, dude. Somehow. So I haven't really been close to any of these attempts. This fucking guy is cracked. Look at that. One little sheets and you're using all my sheets. What the fuck? I keep thinking like jumping over your sheet is helpful, which it is, but not if I suck. What is happening? What the frick is happening? What the frick is happening, dude? Holy frick crap, man. Trying to get a good combo going. Frickin' potion bars. Wow, that saved my life. I should not have been able to dodge that. Like, I know you're gonna do the poke, but like, bro, you gotta shoot too quick. That's not fair. So maybe like half health. Try and go for where'd you come? Which one? No. Fucking shot. Keep jumping myself. I don't think it is at all. I don't know why I do it. Yeah, you like that sheet?
I don't. See, now, if he had thrust, this would be a different story. But wait, he does have thrust. What the frick? Wait, what am I doing? What the frick? What am I doing? Literally, what the fuck am I talking about? He has a fucking thrust. Just fucking saw it. Nice! Nice! You fucking bitch. Why? I know I'm gonna die by that. I don't know why I frickin' jumped. Look, man, let me get to your frickin' second phase, dude, please. Oh, please. Please. Somehow I forgot about that. Alright, today's the end. The rest of the stream's goal is to freaking get to this punk's freaking second phase. Might be possible, maybe. Then again, I really have not gotten close, like, at all, so. I don't think I've gotten down to like half health yet. Okay, that was great, dude. No reason to do that. Good job. I'm proud of you, Nick. I'm proud of you. Aggressive. Aggression. You can counter that, right? I'm getting better at jumping, dude. Learn my lesson. You know he's charging up for that. Why did you attack him? Why? Why? You can clearly see him, dude. What's the goal? Did I? I don't know how I dodged that. Ow, it's fire. You have different ones? Since when? Since frickin' when? Frickin' one to jump in his frickin' head. Okay, that was better.
Big, I got a question. If he's lower on health, does that mean that his stagger bar goes down quicker as well? I feel like that's correct, right? Because at the start of the fight, his sheet go. No, really? At the start of the fight, I feel like that sheet goes by hella quick, and then once I get him down more, that sheet like slows down a lot. The more HP he has, the more quicker it goes down. The fact that he has two different freaking heavy two-handed slams, dude. One time. Let me see your second sheet, please. 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 So it's like staggering his heavies. It's fucking badass. You telling me I go from not getting hit to getting fucking slapped in 2 milliseconds? Good job, Joe. Bro, I was kicking his ass, and then all of a sudden he just turns around, 1-2, slaps my sheet and kills me. That's dope. That's so dope. I was slapping his sheet. This guy's fucked up. God, I hate when my freaking. Why does it keep stopping? Stop. Stop it. Why do you fucking keep stopping? Flop. What the flap smack a pop, dude? Oh, I really thought that was in Sekiro, dude. I had very high hopes. I thought it was a good time to kill. Turns out I was not. Huh? Just keep that going with the whole fight. I kind of wish that you would do some frickin' thrusting, because now I'm expecting you to do it. And I'm pretty sure I can counter that shit. Pretty sure that's a frickin' thrust. Oh, that was sick. Jump off the freaking pillar. How come come I couldn't stagger that one? What the frick happened to my guy? Huh? May or may not have been a waste of a heal right there. Not gonna talk about that. Not talking about that. Why did I jump? Why did you jump? Why you gotta be aggressive? I'm trying to freaking heal my guy. Let me heal him. Like, why the fuck you gotta be so aggressive? Why can't you just freaking chill? Relax. Chill. You know what I'm saying? I had that shit. Okay, I'm getting better. I'm starting to learn this shit. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Now it's just a matter of surviving, which is, I guess, it's kind of the whole game. But you know what I mean. I'm getting better. I don't know how the frick I dodged half of that. Ow! Why can't you just be stagger bro the whole game, huh? Why you gotta like pick and choose what attacks? For instance. I low key sub 400 on this dude, not gonna lie. Maybe not that much. Yeah, probably that much. Sub 400. So, nah, maybe sub 500. See, why couldn't that do the thing? I'm getting real good at freaking stuff. It's kind of satisfying, not gonna lie. You can't come the game, but it's listening to a lot. It's kind of good. It's kind of OP too. Wrestling has its perks, but also it's freaking terrifying. I need to stop jumping right there. I don't know why the frick I'm jumping. You'll lose your entire HP bar if you're just trying to go for lucky stagger. It's no race. Ah! What? Did I do the power? Why the frick did you do this? What the frick is happening? How the frick did I dodge that? I actually didn't want to dodge that. Yeah! Yeah, finally did it. I literally comboed myself right there. You I'm going to sub 400 the whole game. Well, how many more we do after this one? I'm stop doing 400 freaking subs. This guy will probably take me at least 400. Actually, 50 deaths is a lot though. Oh, whoops, sorry. We only got one. We only got what? One main boss after this. I think he just told me. I already forgot. Sorry. What? Don't know why I jumped. In my mind, that was a good idea. Yeah! No! No way I did not parry that first hit. Huh? Goodness gracious. Yeah. No. Damn it. What was that then? There's so much left. There's some really annoying mini bosses and the final boss. Sub 500 for sure, but sub 400 if you're a gamer. Yeah, 100 less for gamer. What the boo? How many actual deaths did what the frick? That's a lot. How many deaths did it take me for I got 50 to start, so what the fuck attack that was. Sub 356. Oh. Oops. I'm not paying attention to death count at all. Oh. Oops. Well, I'll check when I record that that fight. I'm still surprised how many frickin' enemies I killed in or sorry, bosses I killed in Elden, dude. Koyon's boss fight is frickin' crazy, dude. Like scrubbing through each stream. Dude, he frickin' changed it. How do I react to that, huh? What the boot? What the frick is happening? Frick. Okay. What the boot? That is... Dude, how do you react to him switching? That's some freaking bullshit. Not even sure if you press all the time. I think I missed a couple of the stream actually on this guy. Wait, did I press right there? Frick, I don't even know. See, I really wish I could just script it. Just freaking have to do it for me, dude, because I freaking suck. It was nice that freaking Cuphead had that sheet. Like I was off on Cuphead by like a lot every time I did it. Oh, shit. Huh? Okay, nice little reset. I like it. Wow. Okay, that was playing smart. It went back for a little freaking reset. What? Switch the sheet, make freaking sheet. Sheet up. What the frick am I doing? What in the world am I doing? Actually, wasn't expecting to get stuck right there. Why I'm trying to tank that one and freaking know it hurts me. One time I fucking go for a heal. That was good though. God, freaking blasted son of a freaking pancake, man. But we're good. Just play patient. I feel like that was pretty patient. I felt like that was good. I played the Posure game, kind of. Like of my Posure game of my screen. I feel like that. I am alive. I am dead. Wow. I don't know how that happened. Alright. Oh, when did you? Wow. When did you hit that sheet down? When did you what? Ow. Freaking reacting. I was reacting to the thing of Bob, but then it didn't happen. Ow. How do you like that sheet? Damn. Damn it. Damn it. Too much. God. Oh God. I thought that was a thrust coming in. Found the thrust. God, that freaking being able to parry midair saved my ass. God. Oh man, I didn't have the freaking time for that. That's the wrong button, but it worked out. You know not to jump. I've told you this, Nick, 4,000 times. Why do you keep jumping? See, it works out in a lot of things, but whenever I like, you know what? Never mind. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. Everything. That is not. I'm surprised I died there. Reset, go reset. I should have taken advantage of that. Did I? Ah, no. Going for it. What the Whoa. Huh? This guy's hacking. I swear to God. There, I assume you just go for this little. Bar to go, my guy. Oh, thank God that time was good. Holy crap. Locked, dude. Freaking locked. Locked. All I hear is excuses. To be fair, when someone does die in a video game, what are you supposed to say? Yeah. What in the world attack was that? I did it again. Ah ha ha, I did it. Ha ha, again. See, it's cool if you can like cancel it, dude. That would be like a freaking sick ass mechanic on this game. I wonder if they have that for something. There's probably a skill for that. She probably not. You know what? Maybe. That would I would cop that shit instantly. Even if it takes like 6 minutes. You're supposed to walk into that, you fucking punk. You're supposed to walk into that, man. You almost did. You were very close, but you got in. That is not a move you can dodge, man. I'll take one, I guess. God, it's perfect. Is that really worth taking? We've gotten close. Hasn't been a full waste of an hour. We've gotten pretty close. Oh, this is dumb for me to go for that. Freaking hard reset. I didn't even notice I was on the ground. I was wondering if I forgot to dodge that. This is not smart. I need a reset. God, that time was freaking marvelous. Holy freaking bonkers. Why do you pick and choose when one of you freaking sniper? I swear, some of these freaking movies they were decided before, but then you're just like, hey, nah, beach. You ain't doing that shit again. How come you can freaking pick and I can't? It's up. Wow, what a trade. Ow. I need to realize if I want like 100%, if I don't fook it up. Dude, I got aid with how much? 5%? If I want true health damage, I gotta use my sheet. But obviously it has to be the right freaking time. But I feel like I need to use that more than I'm using the other sheet. Does that make any sense? That upgrade counter thing is great. I very much like. Very much like. See, how come you chose not to fucking be able to do it there? It's freaked up. Please get one. This whole shit. Oh, spooked it right up. I'll be up here. Not hitting you. Too far. Come on, give me get one. Why do you choose not to get staggered? It's freaked up. Oh, you should have let that happen. You're a fucking little punk. I don't have an explanation for that. I suck. Come on, bitch. Walk into that shit. Shit. I ain't giving him no freaking chance to attack me. Oh, wow, that was risky. Oh, but it was actually kind of worked out though. Fucking did hella health damage. The little combo is. Oh, shit. Damn, dude. I really need to use that shit. I need to use the frickin' where the frick my right click sheet is. Where you gonna jump to now, beach, huh? Oh. Damn, no face today. I really thought I could, man. I got close, kind of. Not really. This is just a long fight, and I freaking hate long fights, man, because I get nervous and shit. I want to be aggressive, bro, because everything goes faster when you're freaking aggressive. But I get pooped up. I don't like that. Sheet. Alright, here we go. This one. Here we go. Pop on fire. Starting off like this. Frick. Didn't even take advantage of that. Wow. What the food? I know he doesn't loop it after that one, so I don't know why. Alright, we're gonna go for freaking 2 more attempts, man. Let me get a freaking good attempt, bro, please. Let me get a freaking good attempt, bro. Just let me get like, let me get a solid like 10-minute fight. See what happens. Why must you switch like a little bitch? That was my fault. I suck. Yeah, ha ha. Bitch. Where the frick are you going? Holy shit. Alright. We tried, bro. We got kind of So wait, when I use this, is this not actually doing anything? Because I don't have any spirit? I'm able to use it, but I don't have any sheep. So what is it actually doing? Am I dumb? Kind of a little bit. Hey, at least we killed the boss today. That beach was hard, bro. Just deals way less damage. Okay. So wait, it's doing that much without... Damn, okay, man, that's pretty good.